Welcome to Enots Engineering. I'm Alan. In today's video we make this new nut for the knurling tool. Now, this nut comprises of a hexagon machine on the one side and a spherical machine on the other side. The spherical goes onto this washer, so as you tighten it down it lines up with the washer and allows the bar to move up or down to cell centre. And as you tighten this nut up, it pulls the two knurling tools in to make the knurl. So let's go into the workshop and see how we do it. Today I want to modify this knurling tool. The problem I have, if I want to put a knurl on the end of a shaft, when I come in with this tool you can see that this adjusting knob will hit the chuck jaws, and if you look at the depth of the knurl, or you can see there that the rod I want to knurl is only about halfway across the knurling wheel. I'll just mark the edge of the knurling wheel with a felt tip pen. And you can see the mark there, so I can only knurl up to that mark. If I take the adjusting screw off, without that I can then go which brings the knurl right nearly up to the jaw. It's just the distance of this arm away. So what I intend to do today is make a new adjusting knob which is a smaller diameter. First of all I'll face this off. Now I'm drilling the tap-in size for a 5/16 BSF, which I think's 1764. Now this spar already had a hole in. I've just cleaned that hole out. I'm just using, as I say, an offcut to make this part. That's the 5/16 tap, and before I tap it I'll just check that the screw fits that here. That's the right thread. Now this tap hasn't got a hole in, and it hasn't got a very good dome on the end. I'll just fit my expanding mandrel that goes in the back of the headstock. How this works is you put the Allen key through there. As you turn the Allen key it pulls this tapered part in and expands the 4 segments. I fitted in the headstock ER20 collet holder, which is on a number 3 Morse taper, and a drawbar through the headstock. Piece of stud I've got, which matches the thread in the part we're making, and this plain part will fit in the collet. So that should lock up on there. See how it runs out. That'll be okay. This part doesn't do anything. This is the important part, that this spherical we put on here runs true to the thread. This part is going to be machined a bit later anyway. Because I need to machine a spherical that matches the nut, I'll set this tool to the correct position. So to adjust the tool, slacken off the 3 bolts, 3 cap heads that hold the tool position. Then the tool will slide in and out on here. So to get the position, fit the pin that gives you the 0, move the tool back. Now I need it to be 1 inch from that face to the cutting face. So first thing I do is set the caliper to the width here. This is 0.157, so I'll 0 it there, and now the distance between there and there should be 1 inch. Tighten them up by hand, recheck the measurement. That's 3 thou over. Lock the cap heads up. I'm cutting with the bottom of the tip, so that means I'll be starting in the middle and working to the outside. The lathe is running in the normal direction. I'm not going to touch the front, in the middle to the outside to form the spherical. I've turned the spherical, which I'm happy with. The only problem is now I've got a very sharp edge here on the corner, so I'll just file a radius on there. So the next job is to machine the hexagon on this part so that I can use it with a socket. I fitted a lever type dial indicator in the ER20 collet, and I'm setting my indexing fixture square to the tool by using the indicator on the collet spindle. I've made some modifications to this indexing fixture. On the back I fitted an aluminium angle plate which holds in the tool holder. I've used the existing holes and the locating pin to locate and bolt it to the angle plate. So now I can hold it into the tool holder with the centre of the spindle on the centre line of the machine. Now I'm just checking that the indexing spindle is square to the top slide. 0.02 of a millimetre out of square, which I think is about a thou. This is the setup. This is the part we were machining earlier, which I've turned round on the stud, the threaded stud, so that the concave part is now up against the collet. This is the 15mm diameter I machined. and what I want to do is machine a hexagon on there to fit a socket. I've put the 1/2 inch end mill in the collet on the headstock, and I've locked everything up on this fixture. I've just put the cutter up to the face, just touched it, zeroed my compound slide, and I've just come in down now to touch this face to zero my cross slide. So what I will do is take 1/2 millimetre off, index it round, do it in 1/2 millimetre stages. So I'll index that round. I've locked the indexing pin in, now I'm tightening the spindle up. Take the next 1/2 mil off. I've put a red mark on the bar so I know when I've gone around all the faces. I've just gone around once, I'll turn it again. Yes, that's just starting to go on. So what I'll do now is just take off the sharp corners, see if it fits. I've just taken the corner off each one. This fits. So this part's finished. So we can take that out. And you can see now, I'll just file the edges off this. I might just put a chamfer on there and swap the collet over. This piece will replace this knurled hand nut. So the idea is that this could come off. The spherical washer fits on there. This spherical goes into it. So I can get much closer to the chuck, and I can still tighten this with a socket and a wrench. Just going to see what it looks like on the lathe. This is the position the nut would be, the old one. You can see how close it is to the chuck jaw. The new one, I can now move the knurling rollers in another 1/4 of an inch so that this is completely clear of the chuck jaws. So now if anything touches, it's the actual side of the knurling holder. I can knurl closer to the chuck so I don't have to have the work coming further out. Normally I'd have done it about there, so it's held a bit more firmly in the chuck rather than coming out this far. I can use that little socket, which is a 1/4 inch ratchet, fit that. This is the spherical we made to fit that washer. so it lines up.
Well, that's it for today. I hope that was useful and hope to see you next time on Enots Engineering.